Live, hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, We Love Comics. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to check out one of my videos. Hopefully, you are enjoying or about to enjoy your day, depending on when you're watching this. But I'm going to be showing today my 4 books that I'm going to be sending out to get graded by PGX. As usual, I want to give full disclosure. I do not get paid by PGX to do these videos. I am under no contract and I am under no obligation to share anything other than my personal experience. Daniel Patterson of PGX gives me free reign, and I love that. And I've been doing this where I send 4 books in every month to get graded, of course, pressed and dry cleaned if needed, signature verification if applicable, and also, thanks to my idea, and thanks to Daniel Patterson, the owner of PGX, listening and actually implementing this to get graders notes placed onto the back of the slabs. I love doing that. I wish other companies would do it, but they listen to me and I appreciate that. So if you send 10 or more books for the first time to PGX, if you've never used them before, if you write in the invoice the code We Love Comics Free Press, um, one of the 10 books will get pressed absolutely free. So depending on the book, I mean, it could be anywhere from an $18 to $40 value. Make sure you write that on the invoice because this is not something you'll find on the invoice or on their website. This is exclusively for We Love Comics members and viewers. So make sure you write that down. And I would say specifically if there's a book that you want to have pressed, otherwise they'll just randomly pick one out of the 10. And if you want to add graders notes to the back of the slabs, again, it's not on the invoice, it's not on the website. This is exclusive to We Love Comics viewers. On the invoice, just write in that you would like to get the graders notes. It's $5 per slab, and you use the code We Love Comics Graders Notes. So this way you have them right there, and I love the fact that they're on the slab. So if you ever sell or trade your book, somebody that's going to buy it or trade for it will know what's wrong with the book. So, with that being said, if you want to critique the AI art, by all means, please do. Thought I'd do something a little different, a little colorful. I always do. For those that don't know, anytime I do the 4 comics either being received or sent out, I always do some kind of image with 4 things on the screen. So that's the method to my madness. If you want to join my Patreon, and there is a new incentive that I've just added recently, to go to patreon.com/we love comics. Any contribution is always appreciated. You'll get your name up on this board, shouted out every single video. But the new thing that I just added recently is if you saw my auction that I did on Sunday, and by the way, there are still some remaining comics that are still available for sale. I've gotten a couple of emails. 2 of them have sold, but there's a couple of comics that people have asked about, have made offers that I accept, and I have not heard back from them. So, except for the 2 that I mentioned yesterday in the video, the rest of the books that were not sold in the auction are still available until Sunday. So you can contact me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. All kind of cash discounts apply, payment plans if need be. Again, peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. But if you join my Patreon and become a paid member, anytime I do an auction, I always do a week before the auction a sneak peek video. If you're a paid Patreon member, no matter how much you contribute, it could be the minimum of $2 a month to whatever amount, you can get access to the comics that I'm going to be selling 1 week before the sneak peek video. So you will have the advantage of being able to make an offer, and if I accept it, take that off of the auction so it never sees the light of day. Because I've gotten several emails that people were interested in books they saw in the auction, only to find out that somebody else already got it, or somebody waiting for the auction to find out that the comic they wanted was already sold in advance. So it pays to watch all my videos, and now it pays even more if you join my Patreon. So with that out of the way, patreon.com/we love comics. If I get to 20 paid members, currently we're at 15. I have a feeling I'm going to be down to 14 soon. One person that I'm not going to mention had an issue with trying to buy a comic from me, and they made deadlines. And then those deadlines for the payment came and went without even an email, and they seemingly got mad at me for that. But it is what it is. I wish that person no ill will. I hope even if they unsubscribe because they're mad at me for some reason, I hope they have wonderful lives and they're welcome back anytime. I did the best I can. Normally, somebody when they say they want to buy an auction, it has to be paid or a deposit within 48 hours. I give this person 2 weeks. They explain the situation, which I understood. But like I said, when they said, I'll pay it by this date, and that date comes and goes, and they don't even message me, that to me is not the best way to do business. I let it slide once, I let it slide twice. I even was going to let it slide a third time by saying, even though you set a date and it didn't happen, I'm going to give you 24 hours to make the deposit, because I had plenty of people that wanted that book. They seem to have gotten mad at me and canceled the whole thing. So they may unsubscribe, they may cancel their Patreon, but it is what it is. So they'll get shout outs until then, or maybe that won't happen. Who knows? But like I said, this particular person, I hold no ill will. Um, but I have a business to run, and I try and be as flexible as possible. Those of you who've ordered from me before know I will bend over backwards for people, but you got to return the favor. If you say you're going to make a payment and you don't do it, at least let me know. Don't leave a person hanging. Okay, so vent out of the way. If we get to 20 paid members, currently we're at 15, maybe 14, but if we get to 20, there's all different giveaways that we're going to give away, so you can check that out. Let's get on to the video camera to show the 4 books that I'm going to be sending in. Let's give a shout out to the people that are in the live chat. You got Constipated in Sin City. Absolutely love your username, my friend. I don't want to know how you got constipated. We'll leave that for another video. Brian Norman says, hey, Chris, caught a live video watching from work. Well, always good to see you, Brian. Just make sure you don't get yourself in trouble, and hopefully you're not flying a plane or driving a car for your job. But you've already gone through that, so that's for the new people. Dan Lewis is here, says, hey there, hey back, Dan. And the one, the only Punisher XS says, hi, everybody. You did the best you could. I tried. I was really kind of hurt that the person was mad at me when I extended lots of courtesy, and they had a situation which I understood. And like I said, I'm not going to disclose it. I'm not going to, say anything bad about the person. They'll still get shout outs. And if they, remove themselves from my Patreon, they won't get shout outs anymore. But I mean, there's no obligation. But speaking of which, I forgot to give the shout out. So shout out to Sith Lord, Michael, Kevin, Dan, Herbert, Annabelle, Jason, Kim. We also have Blessed, Joey S, Ashton, which is our newest and latest member. And then the last ones, if you want, other than your name, if you want your YouTube channel, your social network, or even your own business website mentioned instead of your name, just let me know in advance at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com, and I have no problem with doing that. So shout out to Kendall Kid Comics at YouTube. Check out at ScottWU077 on Instagram. On Facebook, check out Stephen L. Turk, author. He wrote a couple of books, actually signed one for me, which I thought was really nice, and actually gave away some to our viewers about a year ago. So that was nice of him to do that. And last but not least, on Instagram, check out at SilverAgeSurfer_comics. So let's get back to my ugly mug and show the comics that I'm going to send. Now, always keep in mind when I make my grade predictions, I'm not an expert. I'm usually pretty good. If you watched the video I did yesterday, I was off a little bit, but you're talking like a 0.5 to a 1 point grade. It's not like I said something was a 9 and it came back a 2. But I mean, I'm not going to go over a book with a fine tooth comb. I'm not going to use a magnifying glass and everything. To me, if it becomes work, it's not fun, and I don't want to do that. But pretty much, I'm usually within the range. So I always base my grades based on what I think it's going to be after a pressing and dry cleaning. So you may see a book and I say, oh, I think it's going to be a 7.5, and you look at it and says, oh, well, it looks like a 5. Well, if there's a lot of wrinkles and non-color breaking creases, that can be improved with pressings and dry cleanings. So I'm not basing it on where it is at the moment when I show it to you. I'm basing it on what I think it's going to be after pressing and dry cleaning, if that can help. I always recommend to people, no matter who you send your comics to get graded, if you get them graded, have your books pressed and dry cleaned, because sometimes the difference between, a 5.0 and a 6.0 could be hundreds of dollars. And for the amount that you spend to get the pressings, it's definitely worth it for the majority of time, but you really do need to know what can and cannot benefit from repressing. Wrinkles from like some water damage can absolutely help, but it's not going to remove stains. Non-color breaking creases, indents along the spines, things like that will absolutely improve. Dry cleanings also can get rid of some minor, things on there, but it's not going to, again, get rid of stains and things like that. But sometimes it can reduce them depending on what it is. So the more you learn, the more you benefit yourself. So I highly recommend getting your books pressed and dry cleaned. PGX does in-house pressings and dry cleaning, so you don't have to worry about shipping it to multiple people where it could get lost or damaged in the mail, and potentially having several different people boxing unboxing your comics, which could potentially lead to them getting lost or damaged, or somebody doing something sneakily, unfortunately, that has happened, like with the CGC controversy, where they were switching out books and putting them in, lower grade books and higher grade labels. So the less you have to ship things out to other places, the more that reduces those kind of things from happening. But of course, in life, there are no guarantees. So the first book, if you've been watching this series, you know that I have this complete set. I've been recommending this for the longest time. The last time I made a mistake, I said it was issue 0 to 13. It's actually issue 0 to 12. So I apologize for that mistake. But this is something I highly recommend getting, especially if you're looking for a cheaper book that has potential based on future movies in the MCU. This is Avengers vs. X-Men. This is the regular series. There's a lot of different variants that you can get out there. One in 50s, one in 100s, one per store, black and white. Some are half. There's a lot of different variants for these, but you could still get them relatively cheap. But the best part about this set that I bought, each one has between 5 and 6 signatures on every single issue from 0 to 12. So the minimum amount of signatures on each one is 5, but there's a few that have 6. This one is one of the ones that has 6. So this is issue number 11, so only one more to go, and I have all issues 0 through 12 graded with signature verifications. So this one is signed by Oliver Copiel, Jimmy Chung, Jason Aaron, Fraction, Laura Martin, and Jonathan Hickman. So very happy about that. Last one, if you see the unboxing I did the other day, got a really good grade on it. Hopefully you'll check it out if you haven't seen it. But this series has basically been between 9.4 and 9.8s. Tell people all the time, just because something looks brand new, you could have gotten it fresh off the shelf at a comic book store the day it came out, does not guarantee a 9.8. Those that get like blown away when they get a grade and it comes back a 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, and they say things like, oh, I got it literally off the shelf. That doesn't guarantee you'll get a 9.8. But that's why I do the range between 9.4 and 9.8 with, of course, white pages. That's pretty much a guarantee when you're talking a newer book. So for $16.07 is what I paid for each comic in the series to have those signatures on it. To me, it was a no-brainer. This is another one. This is a low-grade book, but I got these when no one else was talking about it. Again, I was always ahead of the curve for so far than most people that that's why I stopped making videos about telling you to what comics to buy, because people are still recommending this book and I was recommending it 7 8 years ago. But this is a lower grade. It's got tape on it, it's got water stains, but say it with me, low grade is better than no grade, and the price I paid for it, to me, this is a no-brainer. This is Fantastic Four. This is annual number 2. This is the origin of Doctor Doom. Obviously, we know that Doctor Doom, at least a version of Doctor Doom, is going to be coming to the MCU. Whether it's the main Doctor Doom or this is just an offshot for Secret Wars, I guess we'll have to find out. But there's tape along here. That's not restoration or anything. You see, there's a lot of wrinkling. Well, some of that wrinkling is from the bag, but there is water stains on the front and back. So a pressing can get some of those, not the stains out, but the wrinkles out. But I paid a total of $38.98 for this. So I'm predicting this grade probably a 2.0 to maybe a 2.5. Usually I do a full grade, but when it comes to the amount of stains and everything, and even though the tape isn't restoration, they are going to hit it a little bit with that. I really think this is going to fall between the 2.0 and 2.5. So even though it has stains, I mean, it does have nice colors. It's weird the different colors they put in the Fantastic Four logo, but overall, still looks pretty good. You can see there's some color break increases, but it's not a shriveled mess. It's not like 50% of the cover is missing or anything. That's why it's going to be low grade, but I think, in my opinion, between a 2.0 and 2.5, even if it comes back a 1.5, for 38 bucks, I'm going to do well on it regardless. And, I wish more people would have listened to my advice years ago, but You know what? I listen to my advice, and if you watch my videos long enough, you see I get deal after deal. This is another book I just got recently showing that you can find deals. This isn't a major deal, but still under what it's worth. This, of course, is Fantastic Four, number 52, first appearance of Black Panther. Does have one rusty staple, but at least the rust isn't spreading from the staple. The other one looks good. This, I would say, I would be grade-wise about a 2.5 to 3.5. Again, after a pressing. I find these all the time, and I usually get really good prices. In the past 2 or 3 years, this has been the most expensive one that I've paid, but I only paid $204.19 for this. So, obviously we'll have to see what the grade comes back as, but if it comes back between a 2.5, 3.5, I could probably double my money for selling this. And that's why I tell people all the time, there are deals out there. Some you have to wait for, some you actually have to make the effort to have it happen. And you don't have to hold on to books for 10 years. I mean, you can, but especially in the past 2 years, I have basically been saying if I can't at least make 35% profit the day I buy a book, unless it's a rare book or, something that's a mega key that I know will go up later on, I'll usually pass it up and wait for a better deal because they're out there. I mean, the last one I had of this, I bought last year with shipping and handling. I paid $69 for it. Came back, I think, a 3.5, sold it for about $450. So if you want to listen to all the people out there that are more popular, that are more likable, or give better information that, works for you, and you want to listen to them saying, you can't make money selling comics and you have to wait for 10 years, and many comic channels do that. I mean, you can, but I just don't see it. So, Fantastic Four, first appearance of Black Panther, number 52. Again, paid $204.19, and that's after eBay taxes and shipping and handling. I'm going to predict 2.5 to 3.5 creamed off-white pages. And then last but not least, if you saw the video I did the other day, and by the numbers, many of you missed it, this book, I got a steal of a deal. It was a two comic book set, and the other one was X-Men 9, which I found out does not have the poster in it. But I don't care, even with that, because that one was technically going to be a giveaway. So I just averaged the two out, and it was supposed to be from another auction that I won from them, and they just put it in the wrong package because it doesn't matter. But even if they didn't include another comic, the price I paid for this, even though it's a low grade book, absolutely worth it. So the last one I'm sending in, never thought I would get this one back because I had two copies of this book and sold both of them. Usually I like to keep one, but I guess at the time I just thought it was worth selling. I never thought I'd get this back because this book, even in low grade, is very expensive. This, of course, is X-Men number 4, second appearance of Magneto ever. So especially if you can't afford the first appearance, which is X-Men number 1, that's the next best thing. But again, this isn't cheap either because it's also the first appearance of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. So I'm predicting this between a 1.0 and a 1.8. It does have some water stains on the back. Again, you're going to have stuff like that in the grades that I'm predicting. You can see there's a lot of damage in that corner. But it's even still, overall, it's not like somebody ripped off 3/4 of the page. It's not like coupons are cut out or anything. It's needs some love, and people. I don't know who stored it and what they did, so I don't know if a pressing is going to help this at all. I guess we'll find out because PGX will not charge you if they do not believe a comic needs pressing. And I like that about them. I mean, they could easily just charge you and say, well, we tried and we improved it a tiny bit. But if they don't think a comic will benefit from a pressing, even if you requested it, they're not going to charge you for it. So to me, X-Men number 4, like I said, I paid $111.83 for this book. You can't even get a coverless copy of this book for that price. This was a just listed book at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got it within 30 seconds. Now, this had best offer, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to take the chance to try and get a lower offer. And considering the other two auctions, he accepted my best offers, probably would have with this one. I didn't want to take the chance of having somebody else buy this book while I was sending an offer. So even though there was an offer, sometimes you have to understand, like for example, the other Fantastic 452 that I told you about that I got for $69. That's after eBay taxes and after shipping and handling. So I think it was around the $50 mark. It was it was that price plus a best offer. You'd be crazy to try and waste your time doing a best offer because you never know how long a person's going to take to respond. And by the time they see that email, somebody else is already going to snatch it up. So it's one thing to try and get best offer deals, but if it's one where it's $1,000 book and they're selling it for 400, pounce on it. Don't even attempt to do the best offer because somebody else like me will come and buy it. And I had an opportunity last night and it kicked me because it was $800. So after shipping and handling and taxes, it would have came roughly out to $900. And I just didn't have that cash on me at the moment. So I had to wait a day or two to get the funds from people making payments. And I missed out on buying, it was probably going to be a point 0.5 grade, but it was Marvel Family 1, first appearance of Black Adam. Complete, but looked like a point 0.5 grade. They were selling it for a buy it now at $800. Whoever bought that is going to be very happy because I bought a point 0.5 years ago and I paid 2,500 for it, which was actually a good deal at the time because I ended up selling it and definitely did better than 2,500. But I missed out on that opportunity just because I didn't have the cash on hand and my PayPal was already maxed out, so I couldn't use my PayPal, which is normally how I do things. But sometimes you're just gonna miss out. And there's nothing you could do about it. But deals are out there. You just got to find them. Don't let what I call negative Nancy's out on YouTube tell you and discourage you that, oh, there's no deals out there. Oh, everything's too expensive. How many of you would watch a video where they tell you, in X-Men #4, with the first appearance of Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, first appearance of Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and second appearance of Magneto, I bet you could find one for under $125. You'll never see that on anybody's video. They would say, as a matter of fact, if you even made that claim, they'd call you crazy. But yet, I get deals like that all the time. So they're out there. But if you're not looking for them, you're never going to find them. And people like me love the people that don't want to put in the effort because then that's less people that could have saw this and said, you know what? That's a steal. Let me buy it right up. So even though, like I said, I'm thinking with off-white pages, by the way, even though it's going to probably come back between a 1 and a 1.8, for $111, this could come back a 0.5 and I could double my money, if not triple it. So deals are out there. I try and tell people all the time, you get what you give. If you put no effort in, if you have a lack of enthusiasm, if you are always the glass is half empty kind of person, and you say to yourself, oh, I'm never going to find that deal and it's never going to happen, what a shocker, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen to me every 5 seconds. It takes a couple of days, sometimes a couple of weeks. But every now and then, if you've been watching my channel, you'll see deal after deal, which benefits you guys in the long run because when I do my auctions, let's say this book as is, let's say it comes back a 1.8. And let's say that a 1.8 of this book is worth about $800, just off the top of my head. I could sell this book for 600, make a nice amount of profit, and somebody else will say, wow, he could have sold that for 800. He sold it to me for 600. So that person has room to move themselves. So the advantages of being able to find mega key books at steal of a deal prices is you have more flexibility because if you bought this for 800 and it's only worth 800, you have no room. So you have to hope it goes up. So this book could go down in price and I could still double or triple my money. That is how you have proper ability to invest by never having to pay what the normal price is. Now, again, if it's a very rare book and you think it's worth it or you just want to own it, then all that stuff doesn't matter. But again, why would you, if you could afford a Ferrari at 100,000 let's just, well, I'm probably thinking 1980s money. If you can order, get a Ferrari for 500,000, probably more realistic price these days, wouldn't you want to buy that same one for 250,000? And then you could use that 250,000 to buy maybe another Ferrari or something else. Just because you could spend the peak amount because you have that money doesn't mean you should just throw it away and waste it when you could actually find and make deals and be able to use that money to buy more things you love or more things you can invest in. But that's just me. I'm a nobody on YouTube that most people don't listen to and most people don't care about. And that's fine. The very few people that do listen to my advice over the years have done incredibly well. So I give this advice freely because I want everybody to succeed. That's what a real comic book community is about. And I've watched so many auctions over the years from other people where they just nickel and dime you. They'll just take every amount that they can get. And it's probably because they probably didn't have enough room to make a lot of profit where they had no choice. If that's the way you want to go, you're not going to do well. And that's why every auction I've done, I have done very well. I mean, I'm not buying Ferraris and things like that, but I'm getting my bills paid. And I could spend time at home taking care of all the stray cats that I take care of, spending time with my wife instead of being in some desk working a 9 to 5 job that I hated, making somebody else a multimillionaire from my hard labor only to find out 30 years later you get let go because the economy's a little tight and they tend to do it right before a holiday like Christmas. No thanks. But, the wonderful thing about free will is you can do whatever you want. So if you want to listen to those other bigger channels that talk up a good game and they might be very friendly and they have lots of special effects and tell you everything that you want to hear, if they don't help you succeed, okay, hitch your horse to that wagon. Let me know how it works out for you. I'm here to try and help you by not just telling you things, but showing you based on my experience. Because if I can do it, you can do it. But if you're not willing to put in the effort, if you're not willing to put in the time, if you're not willing to put in the knowledge, you're not going to succeed. Because anybody can play Russian roulette. Eventually you find the bullet. Okay? So to each their own. So Constipated Sin City says X-Men, Avengers vs. X-Men, the miniseries from the 80s. Yep, looking forward to the movies, by the way. I know they're going to make an Avengers vs. X-Men eventually. Conspace says he has two Fantastic 452s. Always good to have extra because then you could sell one and still own it, or trade one for something that you don't own, or upgrade to a better copy. So it's always good to have multiple copies. And then Conspace says, I'd rather let people sleep on your advice, more money for the inducted. Yeah, well, yeah, most people don't listen to me. Why? I don't know. For some reason, I am the Satan of the comic book community when all I do is give people advice and free advice and try to teach people a different, better way, especially through example. And people don't want to listen, that's fine. Because like I said, if 10,000 people watched my video every video I did and 10,000 people went out on eBay looking for deals, I'd never find another one again. So in a way, I'm actually glad nobody wants to put in the effort and don't want to listen and they want to listen to the advice of the other people that are doing nothing but saying what they want to hear instead of saying what they need to hear. You know, you have to be confident in yourself to be able to handle honest criticism where you can use it to improve yourself instead of just living in an echo chamber where people are constantly reinforcing your belief system so you can blame life instead of yourself for you not going anywhere. If you have a car and you don't change and rotate the tires and you don't put gasoline in the car and you don't turn it over every now and then to let the battery go, don't be shocked that your car dies and you go nowhere. But you can do it if you want. You want to spend $500,000 on a car that you leave in your garage and never use and one day no longer works? God bless you if you have that kind of throwaway money. I sure don't. So that's my lecture. That's my sermon. If you appreciate it, you could thumb it up. If you can't stand to hear my voice, I would say, why are you listening to me? But you can hit the thumbs down by all means. I am unafraid of the thumbs down because trust me, I get them and I'm perfectly okay with it. That's why I even request them. You want to subscribe or unsubscribe? I'll leave that up to you. I'm just glad you're watching regardless of your motivation. So if you find my stuff helpful, thumb it up. If you find it pitiful and unproductive and unhelpful, hit the thumbs down. I'll leave that up to you. If you want to leave a comment, once this video uploads, I will be more than happy to respond like I do on every single comment. If you can't do it, that's quite all right. So thank you very much for watching. We're going to do Constipated in Sin City. And for the surprise subscriber shout out, since we have only a few people, Punisher XS, Dan Lewis, Brian Norman, all of you are today's surprise subscriber shout out. So you guys have been here long enough to know what that entails. So if you want to leave your links in the comment section once this video uploads of either your YouTube channel, social network, or personal link, as long as they are suitable for all audiences, I will accept them and show them for people to view. So thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know what you thought about the books. Try PGX out if you haven't tried it. Use those codes that I gave in the beginning of this so you can get one of the books pressed for free if you send in 10 to PGX the first time. And if you want to add the greatest notes to the back of the slab, it's $5 per. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, you do have to write these in on the invoices because this is exclusively for We Love Comics viewers and is not even on their website or their invoice. So you have to write it in. And join my Patreon at patreon.com/We Love Comics. Like I always say, about 95% of the contributions that come in are paying for cat food for the cats, the stray cats that I take care of, including the ones in my house, medical bills, medicines, and things like that. So it's definitely goes to a good cause. But the new thing, besides the shout outs and your name up on this list, when I do my next auction, which I never know specifically when I'm going to do it, and I won't need to do one probably for another 2 or 3 months. But when I do, there'll be a sneak peek video a week before. But if you're a paid Patreon member, you get to be able to email me 1 week before the sneak peek video comes out, ask for the comics that are going to be in the auction and the sneak peek video, where you will exclusively have the ability to make an offer on those books before anybody else can, which keeps you from missing the auction, getting into a bidding war. Like if you saw the auction that I did last Sunday, a couple of people had some bidding wars. You could prevent that by making a fair offer or end up being outbid and not get the comic at all. So join my Patreon at patreon.com/We Love Comics, and you'll get that early access. Again, the minimum amount is a minimum to join anybody's Patreon, which is $2 a month. But if we ever get to 20 people and do the giveaways, every $2 that you contribute, you get one entry towards the items that you see on this list. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Serge, you just got here in time for me to say goodbye to you, but I'll add you to the surprise subscriber shout. It says, Chris, how are you? Good news is my cat Shy, who has the hyperthyroid problem and we thought was literally dying 2 or 3 days ago, we got his blood tests back last night. They said not only are the blood tests now normal, but they've actually improved because every 6 months we have to take him in to get his blood work done to check his thyroid to make sure he's not, regressing. And literally, like I said, about 4 days ago, this cat, I was ready to think I was going to have to put him down because he was at death's door. Now, all of a sudden, not only is he doing fine, he's not 100%, obviously, with the thyroid problem because that's not going to go away. But he had his last blood test that we did. They said he was at normal levels of certain things, but they were at the higher normal levels where getting past that, it becomes something to worry about. Every one of those that was higher elevation lowered down, and they were amazed. They said, especially for a cat that's 16 years old. So, very happy to report the good news. So it looks like he's eating well. We have him on appetite stimulants. We're going to do it for one more day, and then after that, see if he'll eat on his own. But he's eaten more just today than he did all of the last week. So looks like there's going to be a full recovery, knock on wood. So thank you for asking. Even though you didn't specifically ask about the cat, you were asking how I was. But that dramatically changed my viewpoint from worried and concerned and sad that I was going to lose my best friend, because that cat literally saved my life twice. And if you watch my videos, I've explained that years ago. That cat literally saved my life on 2 different occasions. I'd be dead if he wasn't for him. But I'm very happy to see he's not ready to leave yet. because I'm not ready to have them leave. So that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next video. Don't forget, it's not you. It is not I. It is We Love Comics. What color is the cat, Surge? Considering I have between 5 and 6 cats that stay in, sometimes one of them wants to go out, so we let them. And I take care of anywhere from 20 to 25 stray cats. The majority are orange tabs, but some are like salt and pepper. Some are tuxedo colored. Some are all white. So it's kind of a variation of everything. But they're all lovely. They're all friendly. I don't just put food out and just leave it there. I make the food, mix it up, add water to it, go there, spend about a half hour in the wonderful 105-degree average heat every day these days. It's been like almost 3 weeks now nonstop, and it's got no foreseeable future of it going under 100 degrees with the heat index. As a matter of fact, it's going to be up to about 105. I stay out there, I pet them, I hold them. So even though they're strays, they're definitely not feral. So all assorted colors. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next video. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered.